Hi there, I'm Megan, and today I have another tutorial for you all on the Bowspring method. So today we're going to focus on the spools. So the spools we call the belly and the neck. And so we moved from first video, the tutorial was on radiant heart, so the circumferential expansion, the fullness of the ribs. Then the second we did were the wings, so that would be the alignment of the hands, the arms, and the shoulders. And then the third tutorial was on the roots, which was the feet, legs, and hips. And then now we're on to the fourth, which is the fourth subsystem, which we would call again the spools. So if you look at the torso, for example, we would have the head, the heart, and the hips, and we would relate to these as the spherical, more full, bulbous expressions of the torso, and then we have the spooling, tapering energies of the waist and the neck. And so a couple interesting things just to consider. If we look at the spools, they actually have the least amount of bone and the most amount of soft tissue. So of course, in the lumbar and the belly region, we just have the lumbar vertebrae, so 5 vertebrae there. And then moving into the neck, we have the cervical vertebrae. So very little actual bone and much more soft tissue. So another portion to consider is that in this particular methodology, the way that we work abdominals, it's not through a crunching, it's actually through a lengthening. And so, the idea is that when we would crunch, that you're actually shortening what is already short and essentially tight, and instead we're looking to create a lengthening of the abdominal region and the neck as well in order to create, for one, a toning. If you think of the fascia like a woven object, like something like a crocheted item or a knitted item, and then if you had a kind of a loose weave, and then you created a tension there and pulled the object apart, then the weave will actually become more densely woven, so it'll become more densely connected. And so that's the concept of creating this length to actually bring the weave into a more dense, densely knitted fashion. So by lengthening the belly is where we actually get the tone, and the neck as well. Something else to consider is that in the neck region, we generally will see that the front of the neck will work harder than the back, and especially nowadays that we have what we call like the text neck or the I posture, where the head tends to be going more downward, and we lose the curvature, that curve of the back of the neck. And so we want to maintain that nice lordotic curvature of the lumbar and the cervical to preserve the health of the spine. So what I'd like to do is show you just a little tutorial today as some of the poses that we would do in order to access some connection through the abdominal region and then also the neck. And so to begin, I'm going to come over onto the mat. I'm actually going to start standing upright for just a moment here. And so again, the belly region here, what we want to work on is keeping a lengthening so that we're not doing these type of crunches to create strength, but it's actually an elongation. So as we begin standing, let's start standing in earth position, bringing your hands to seeds, so the thumbs to the index fingers. And right away we start with the heart and just filling in, broadening through the ribs and the heart, expanding wide, and then extending the seeds forward, thumb pushing out to index finger, keep a curl of the fingers towards the center hollow of the hand, and then extend your seed hands forward. Now tone the arms. We want to see that there is a uniform tone of the arm. Bring the weight forward to the paws of the feet, so the toe pads and mounds, knees forward and hips back. And just to start, just do a little stretch from side to side. So we open up first the ribs from the sides, then to the back, and then we can start to open up the front. Bring the arms up into what we call V vector. Push seeds forward and up, broad and wide. Lengthen the belly, and then place your hands to your head. Out, the elbows draw in, of course, and they also energetically push out and go long with your belly. And now with your hands to your head, I want you to press your head into your hands. And what you can start to notice is that if you bring your hands to your front neck, what we want to encourage is for the front of the neck to soften a bit so that it's not over-efforting. And then bring your hand to the back of your head, your neck, and notice that you're able to get some tone as you press back into the hand. You get the back of the neck to become more active and engaged. Okay, so we use this hand alignment, ecstasy arms, in order to help us to create more strength to the back of the neck, to the posterior side of the cervical. Lengthen up through your belly, so we sit back with the hips sit back, belly goes long and bows and opens. So we keep the length, and you can take a couple little squats here, just encouraging the length and the shape and the form of the bow. Belly long, hips back, rise up, ribs, and curl back. And then release and extend forward with your arms, your seat hands. And we're going to turn to face the long edge of the mat. Step wide, reach 2 seats forward, send your hips way back, way back. Keep your belly long and your throat open. Slowly touch down, walk your hands forward from dome to spring, come to all fours position. Okay, in all fours, what we want to see as well is that the belly is bowing and lengthening long. Ribs rise up, and just move a little bit organically for a moment. Creating space and length in the body. A couple of little pulses. Curl the toes under. Swivel. Knees right, lower left hip to the earth. Okay. Touching down, walk the hands. Side bow. Please roll onto your back, seeds to sky. And then scooching yourself back onto your mat. So now what we're looking for is feeling that we have the back of the head, the heart, and the hips that touch. And so these would be like apples, the rounded, more spherical portions of the torso. And then you have the apple cores, the tapering of the belly and the neck. And so we create a double S curvature alignment, so it's a wavy formation. It goes hollow mound, it goes a peak valley. You know, there is a relationship there that is the form of a wave. Seeds to sky. Touch your dome hands overhead. Okay, now as your dome hands touch down, with your feet bent and your paws, your feet touching the earth, create space and length through your belly and your throat, and press your head back to the floor slightly so that the back of the neck becomes more active and engaged. Belly long, and then extend seeds towards sky. And now dig, drag, lift your feet from the earth. As the feet lift, square legs, extend your right leg out, and then extend your right arm out. And as if you're pushing into a resistance with the right leg, arc up and over to the left a bit. So now this, not only are we lengthening the fascia to the belly, but we're knitting it towards the center. So there is a corseting type of energy where it's drawing in towards midline. So again, like you were pulling a piece of knitted fabric apart, the weave will become more densely woven and connected. And then other side, arc to the right now and extend the left leg out. Whole length of the side body, opening, toning, push like you were pushing into a resistance and drag your right heel down the wall, down the imaginary wall. Come back center, and then other side. Crescent upper body to the left, and then reach out with the right leg, so it's a wave leg. push and drag, lengthen, and then back to center, and extend left leg, reach, extend, push, arc, open the belly, open the throat, and then release, come back to center. Place your feet wide to the width of the mat. Now keep your left knee vertically towards the sky and bring your right knee towards your inner left ankle. Receive your right wrist with your left hand and then crescent your torso over to the left. Okay, so now this is also really nice for the psoas, which runs through the spool of the belly and the low back. And what's interesting is that our psoas, for one, it connects our ribs to our hips, originating around T12 and then inserting at the head of the lesser trochanter, the femur there. So, it connects our hips to our ribs. And then you have the sternocleidomastoid of the neck, which is very much like the psoas of the neck. And those two muscles tend to be the ones that overwork the most commonly for most humans. So the more we can bring balance there, the more balance we'll have in the spooling regions of the body. Press your head back, open up, so soften the front neck and engage the back of the neck. And then release and come to center, and then exchange. So now we'll hold the left wrist with the right hand, keep right knee skyward and left knee towards inner right ankle. Okay, as you draw your left knee inward, both knees squeeze in, send the inner thighs wide, and then arc crescent over to your wrist. You actually inch your body over your torso while keeping your roots stable, and then this will give, so now you can feel that it's like the fascia is not only lengthening, but it's drawing kind of in here. You can feel that knitting towards the center, which is really strengthening for the core, abdominal muscles, giving stability and strength. Keep the activation of the roots, the legs, the big drag, and then release, come to center. Extend the seats towards sky. Place your feet now to neutral. Okay, now the next stage, dig, drag, lift the feet from the earth, and now scooch up on the head a little more towards like the fontanelle where the spiral of the hair begins, and now hover your heart. This is a little bit more intermediate, so you can choose to just keep the ribs down like we did in the first set, or hovering now, so now we have the head and the hips that are touching, and now extend your right arm and your right leg. Press the back of the head down, soften the front neck and jaw, and then release other side. Left leg out, left arm out, reach, open up, lengthen, tone. Back to center, and then one more each side. Extend, reach, crescent, lengthen, release, and one more, other side. And then release. Lower the back of the head, lower the feet to the earth. Scooching your hips to the right. You can roll to your left side, and we can come back up. Okay, so those are just a few postures to show you, what we can do with this region and also the neck. Because again, we want to think of the tapering energy of the waistline, and it's the elongation, that length that creates more of a woven density. And then to look at anywhere in the bowspring specifically why it's so effective is, for one, we're looking at uniform tone, and we're also looking at where are we over-efforting, where in the body are we tending to work too hard, and where are we tending to not work hard enough. Like, where I like to think of it in 3 ways. We want to fill up anywhere that we are lacking. So anywhere that there is a space that needs fullness, we want to fill. Anywhere that is overworking, hard, rigid, we want to soften. And then anywhere that is weak, we want to strengthen. And that's just a good rule of thumb. So if we can look at those 3 things, then that will help us bring balance. So looking at, again, the front of the neck tending to be overstimulated, overworked, back of the neck weak, the loss of the cervical. Also, when we go into C curve, of course, we diminish the lordotic expression of the cervical and lumbar spine. We want to maintain those curves in our everyday, in our practice, and so forth. So thank you so much for taking the time to check it out, and then we'll have our last stage of the algorithm in the next video. So we have, just to review, 1 heart, then we have 2 hands, 3 arms, 4 shoulders, and then we go down to 5 with the feet, 6 with the legs, hips, 7, and then the belly, 8, the neck, 9, and then 10, the head like the cherry on top, which we'll go over in the next tutorial. Thank you guys so much for checking it out, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel if you would like to stay connected, and look for the Vimeo series that I've got out, Bowspring vids, and these are actual sequences. So again, not tutorial style, they're just actual flow sequences if you'd like a home practice that you can do, 15-minute, 30-minute, and 45 sections. So thanks so much again, and have a